So this is an original graph, and this graph becomes like this. And the formula that we have is y equal to a. I'm going to use h because they label it h. H of b of x minus h plus k. So we need to find a, b, h, and k. So this a if a is more than one, or if it's negative. If it's negative, it will flip on the x-axis, but the graph that we have, this one is exactly the same shape as this, but it shrink a little, but the way I draw it, I didn't draw it correctly. So a cannot be negative. And the scale of a, they're vertically, they didn't do anything. So a, I would start with 1. But I think it does shrink vertically. For example, this 12 becomes 6. So it has to be 1/2. All right. Then we shifted 1 units up. Here was 0, it was 12,0. Now this point become 6,1. So we shifted 1 unit up. I will put k equal to 1. And inside, for the b and h, this b, it makes something horizontally, correct? It will stretch it or compress it horizontally. So by looking at the graph, this 12 becomes 6. So by applying each point, if 1/2 of each point, which is a, b doesn't do anything, b will be 1. And h, we transfer 12 went to 6, so we moved it 6 units to the left, so it would be -6. So this will be my answer. That's one way to solve it, and it should work for your homework. So this is not a question that you can answer in like 2 or 3 minutes. So you need to apply different number to see which one for sure transfer the original graph to the second graph. Usually for your question or for this course, we usually apply A or B. We don't do 2 of them at the same time. It would be very complicated. So number 15. Lindsay, what was your second question?
It was chapter 6, section 6.3, question 15, CD.
I solved this on the YouTube, correct?
Did you?
Yeah, I sent you guys email. It's exactly the same question.
Oh.
So idea about this is we have chapter 6. So we have a point is 6 and -5. 1, 2, 3. Here, for this point is part of the graph. Now they're asking us what's going to happen after, where this point will go after negative g, 1/3 x plus 4 minus 8. So our job is to find a g of b x minus h plus k. So we need to find a, b, h, and k. So we have to make it exactly same as that. So this parenthesis here. So first step is we're going to convert it to this form, which will be negative g 1/3 x plus 4 plus 8. So I multiply by negative. This negative going to go here, and this negative going to go there. So now I have a is -1, b is 1/3, h is -4, k is 8. A is -1, so negative, it will reflect to the x-axis. So this point was 6, -5. This point will be, if you reflect it, the value of x is same, but it will be 6, +5. Correct? This 1/3 inside, we said we compress or stretch horizontally by factor of 1/b, absolute value of b. So this will be 1/1/3 will be 3. So this will multiply the x value. We're going to get 18,5. Then we are applying h equal to -4. We're going to shift this one after 18.5. We're going to shift it to 4 units to the left. It will be 14,5. Then plus 8, you shifted 8 units up. It will be 14,8 plus 5, 13. So this will be the final answer. So part B, look at on the YouTube, is exactly the same. I email you guys for this. David, is that your picture or you're in front of sun? Oh, I
My
thought
bad.
that's you
I was
on.
eating
No,
my
no, no.
sandwich.
I wasn't sure that was your picture or your was kind of moving as well. Any other question?
I have one.
Tamir, what's your question?
It's from section 6.3, concept test, question 6.
Is that homework 7?
Yeah.
Chapter?
If you want, I could just tell you the question.
No, I am in front of the homework. What was the number again? Chapter 6?
It said chapter 6, section 6.3, concept test, question 6.
Concept. concept test, yeah. Is that if f of x equal to x squared?
Yeah.
So chapter 6. Saying if f of x equal to x squared and g of x equal to f of negative 2x, then which of the following is true? So first one is g of x equal to 4f of x, g of x equal to negative 4x squared, g of x equal to negative 2f of x, and none. So f of x equal to x squared and g of x equal to f of negative 2x. Correct? So g of x equal to f of negative 2x, f of x equal to x squared, then f of negative 2x will be negative 2x squared, correct? We learned that whatever, if here is x, or there we have x, I change the x to negative 2x, is something else. I do the same thing for the x. Whatever I see x, I put negative 2x. So now negative 2x squared will be positive 4x squared. It will be 4x squared. So f of negative 2x equal to 4x squared, which is same as g of x. So the final answer, g of x equal to 4x squared. But do we have this? We have 4x, not true. We have negative 4x squared, not true, because we are positive. So the two other options we have in terms of f of x. So here, g of x equal to 4 multiplied by x squared. Instead of this x squared, I can plug f of x, because f of x is x squared. So this will be 4 f of x. So therefore, first one is correct.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought it was g of x equals negative 4x squared.
Almost, but when you put negative inside of parenthesis, when you square it, you get positive.
Okay. Thank you.
David, you don't need to leave the camera on if you want to do something. Just feel free to. All right, guys. So we're almost done with the summer session. We have only 10 days or 9 days left. Are you guys ready for the exam 3? Lindsay,
When is
Megan,
the last day of the class? When is the last day of the class?
it will be last day of the month. It will be next Friday. Is that next Friday is the last day? Is that the July 31st? Yeah. So I will post the final exam. I will post the final exam that you should be taken on Thursday. All right. And I will post the exam 3 about trigonometry. There are 3 chapters. I'm going to go over some of the questions that you will see on exam 3, also on the homework 8. So for homework 8, I labeled it a practice exam as well. I don't supposed to go over the 3 chapters. I mean, you're supposed to know it, but we are just doing review. Your job is to have a good note front of yourself when you're taking the exam or homework. I give you guys extra time to do whatever research you want to do. I want you to do it, not your friends. So you're welcome to do the research on this exam in the extra time I give you guys. And that's only you should know it for the calculus. Any question for me?
Are the practice exams graded?
For this particular one, because I said homework 8 plus practice exam, so those will be part of your homework grade. Yeah, you need to do that. But the previous one, no. Okay? So today I'm going to go over a few topics that you should know it very well for the next course that you're taking, also for the exam. I will post the exam 3 up by end of today. Good. I'll give you a few days to take it. I will start chapter 10 tomorrow. And chapter 10 and 11 is much easier compared with these 3 chapters, to compare with trigonometric. So I will finish chapter 10 and 11 by, tomorrow and Monday. So next Wednesday, we're going to do review for the final. And there will be no more midterm and no more quiz. I might give you guys another quiz for chapter 10 and 11, but most likely no, but I'll let you guys know.
Are you gonna make like a practice test for the final or just?
Definitely, I will give you guys practicing. But for the final exam, I try to make it, yeah, I will give you guys practice exam. The most question, I try to bring it from chapter 10 and 11.
And the final exam's on all the chapters?
You should know all the chapters. I give you guys review sheet, but mostly if I didn't make the quiz on chapter 10 and 11, then most of the question will be on chapter 10 and 11 in your final exam. All right. Any other question? So everybody has a camera, correct? No camera, no final.
So when we take the final, we have to like come to class and take it? Is that how it's going to work?
Most likely next Thursday, yeah. Any other question?
Are we allowed to have notes on the exam?
Yes. You're welcome to have a good note. I mean, as many notes you want. I mean, I would suggest 1 page only. But if you have more pages, it's fine.
Is there a practice exam for chapter 10 and 11?
I'm trying to have a quiz on chapter 10 and 11. Then it will be similar to the homework. So I will try to make a homework. Next homework will be homework plus practice exam.
Okay.
Okay. Do not stress out. That's, I mean, it will be similar to your other midterms. Any other question? All right.
Is the final Wiley plus 2?
Ryan. What? Say again.
Is the final going to be taken on Wiley?
Yes. I would like to be in Wiley because you got used to it. I need to see what the school telling me to do. What other options do I have? Because I need to report how you guys taking the camera. How do you guys taking the final? While plus I prefer because you got used to it. I don't want to give you guys new system to freak out. All right. Brian, do you have a question? Brian Chin. All right, guys, let me start. Anyway, so right triangle. So you need to know this. If you know it, if you just remember it, have a note for it, easy to get point in exam. If not, will be miserable. So the right triangle is a type of triangle that has 90 degree. One of the angle is 90 degree. For example, this one. This is A, B, and C. So then on the right triangle, only on the right triangle, we can have a Pythagorean theorem. You can say A squared plus B squared equal to C squared. So also in the next 10 days, you guys need to just add more time to your homework and practice exam and exam. Next Thursday, it will be end. So I cannot extend any homework. I cannot just, next Thursday by 11:59, or maybe Friday by noon, it will be the last minute of this course. So don't ask me to extend. I cannot do that. So do your best in the next few days. All right, Pythagorean theorem only applies to the right triangle. For example, if we have a right triangle, this is 3 and that's 4. If I ask you guys what is the hypotenuse, you're going to apply the Pythagorean theorem. Get 16 plus 9 will be 25. Then x will be 5. Good. Also on the right triangle, if I call, so this is 90. I'm going to call this one alpha, and this is beta, or B. Sine of alpha will be opposite to the angle alpha A over hypotenuse, A over C. And cosine of alpha will be adjacent to, this is adjacent to alpha. So adjacent divided by hypotenuse. And tangent of alpha will be opposite over adjacent, A over B. So we usually memorize sine and cosine because tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant are coming from sine and cosine. Let's have some example. I give you guys a right triangle. This is 8, A equal to 8, B equal to 15, and this is C. That is theta. Usually they ask us to solve a triangle. Solve a triangle means you need to find everything. You have to give me C, you need to tell me theta, and you need to give me, for example, beta. You have to solve whatever you see, you have to solve it. But in this exercise, they're asking us solve or find sine of theta and cosine of theta. So sine of theta only on the right triangle, only on the right triangle is, so this is theta, opposite to theta is 8 over hypotenuse, is the longest side on the right triangle, over C, so we don't have C. And so you have to solve for C. And cosine of theta is adjacent, 15 over C. So we need to find C. Pythagorean theorem, C squared equal to 15 squared plus 8 squared is 225 plus 64, gives us 289. And C will be radical 289, it will be 17. So sine of theta will be 8 over 17, cosine of theta will be 15 over 17. All right. So if I ask you guys what is theta, so C, let's say we solve 17. How do I solve for theta? Anybody?
You have to use the inverse.
Very good, Megan. Very good. So in order to find the theta, so we have sine of theta equal to 8 over 17. The angle that you need to know, I mean, so if you have a unit circle or a table, 0, 30 degrees, 45, 60, and 90, and all the multiple of those angles, you need to know sine and cosine. Sine of 0 is 0, 1/2, 30 is 1/2, 45 is root 2 over 2, 60 is equal to 3 over 2. So you also need to know for cosine, for tangent. So again, this is the first quadrant that you need to know exact. And most of the answer, if you look at the unit circle, most of the answer is 0, 1/2, radical 2 over 2, radical 3 over 2. So none of them is 8 over 17. If we had, this is example, if sine of theta was 1/2, because you see 1/2 here, then you could say theta equal to 30 degrees without any inverse or using calculator. But in this example, we got 8 over 17. 8 over 17 is nowhere on your unit circle. That's why we're going to use inverse. We're going to say theta equal to sine inverse of 8 over 17. Or in some old calculator, they have arc sine of 8 over 17. That gives you the angle for theta. All right. And how do we solve for beta? How do we solve for beta, Megan?
You would do the inverse sine of 8 over 17 equals theta.
Very good, but that's the long way to, can you tell me what is theta? Do you have a calculator handy?
I got 28.07.
So we have 28.07. So for beta, instead of using all the trigonometric functions, I can just subtract from 180 because we know theta plus beta plus 90 degree equal to 180. If you add all the angles, you get 180, correct? So if we have theta, so beta, easy to solve, correct? And we prefer to use this way because we're gonna have less error. Question? find all sides and angles. I sent you guys an email regarding what video to watch for these 3 chapters. So you should watch all of them. So we have a right triangle here, and they ask us find all the sides. So I'm gonna label them. This is A, and that's C, for example. And all the angles, I'm gonna call this one alpha. So we know A plus 4 squared equal to C squared. But we have 2 unknown here, A and C. How do we solve this?
Finish the right angle first.
Say again.
Finish the right angle first.
Sharice, tell me one more time.
Finish the right angle first.
Finish the right angle first. So you mean solve for alpha?
Yeah.
38 plus 90 plus alpha equal to 180. 38 plus alpha equal to 90. Alpha will be 62. 62 or 52?
52.
52 degrees. So we solve for alpha is 52 degrees. Now how do I solve for A and C?
You can use tangent of 38 and then do 4 over A.
Beautiful. So tangents. So let's say, what is sine of 38? Sine of 38 is 4 over C, correct? Opposite over hypotenuse. So that works. I can solve for C. But Megan said tangent of 38, tangent is opposite over adjacent, which is 4 over A. Oops, 4 over A. That works too. So let's go with what Megan said. Tangent of 38. So tangent of 38 is a number. You use a calculator and you solve it. And your A will be 4 divided by tangent of 38. You use the calculator to find this. Can you tell me what is that, Megan?
5.12.
So A becomes 5.12. How do I solve for C?
You can use Pythagorean theorem or do the sine of 38.
We don't want to use sine of 38. There's nothing wrong in this question is okay. But because sine of 38, if we use this one, we're gonna get more error. Pythagorean theorem is has less error. Error means, for example, the last 10 digits will be different because it's not the exact number. It will be, it's not, we get more error. So I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to say 5.12 squared plus 4 squared equal to C squared. I calculate this and then make a square root. It will be C. All right. Let's have another example. Six 100-degree, 18-degree. I'm not going to ask you guys to solve everything, but you should be able to solve the triangle. But in this exercise, the question is solve for x. How do you solve for x?
I use the law of cosines.
Law of cosine. So definitely we are not going to say, oh, sine of 100 equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So those opposite or adjacent over hypotenuse, those was only for the right triangle. This triangle is not a right triangle. So we should use law of sine or law of cosine. Law of sine, exactly on top of that. Law of sine, that was easy. So for non-right triangle, we have two formula, law of sine or law of cosine. You have it in your note sheet, and you know you use them when you don't see a right triangle. Law of sine, they said in any non-triangle, non-right triangle, we have sine of A over A equal to sine of B over B equal to sine of C over C. That means if we have a triangle, this is A, that's B, this is C, A, B, C. Sine of this angle divided by the length of the side front of it is exactly same as sine of this angle divided by this, sine of this angle divided by that. And it's a very easy proof we can do that. So we have this formula. This is only for law of sine. For law of cosine, for any triangle, if we have A, B, C, B, C, A squared equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2AB C cosine of A is a little more prettier than law of sine, but that's law of cosine. I can write this formula for any length. I can say, so A squared was B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A, or I can say B squared equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine of B, or C squared equal to A squared plus. So those are law of cosine. So what you need to know, you need to just know for the exam which formula to use when you see a triangle. You went through this on trigonometry course, so your question is not going to be challenging as long as you know the formula. As you see, law of cosine is like a little spicier. So we try to use law of sine first. So when you see a non-right triangle, we would like to try, can we use law of sine? If not, we go law of cosine. Why? Because law of sine is easier to work with. So let's say, can I say sine of 18? So sine of this angle divided by the side front of it, divided by 6, equal to sine of 100 divided by x. So that's great. We have one equation, one unknown. So we can solve for x. So law of sine work. Actually, law of cosine not gonna work. So then x cross multiply x sine of 18 equal to 6 sine of 100. Then I divided by sine 18, sine 18. Then x equal to 6 sine of 100 divided by sine of 8. So then here you use your calculator to find the value of x. Let's have another example. Any question? X 3 5 21. Solve for x. Which formula should I use?
Law of cosines.
Okay. So before I go law of cosine, I would like to see if I can use law of sine. Sine. So law of sine said sine of 21 divided by x equal to, for example, sine of b divided by 3 equal to, let's say, sine of c over 5. So any two fraction I pick, I have two unknown. If I pick these two, x is unknown, b is unknown. If I take these two, b and c is unknown. If I take these two, x and c is unknown. So I cannot solve with one equation, two unknowns. I'm not able to solve any of them. So law of sine is not going to work. Let's try law of cosine. Law of cosine said x squared, this side squared, equal to 3 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 3 times 5 cosine of angle front of this first side, cosine of 21. So now we have x squared. So x squared equal to 9 plus 25 minus 30 cosine of 21. So 34 minus 30 cosine of 21. We calculate this first. 30 multiplied by cosine of 21. Megan, can you tell me what is the answer here?
It is 28.007.
And 34 minus that?
It is 5.997.
So x squared equal to this, then x will be radical of 5.997, which is, Megan, what is that?
2.45.
2.45. So when you're doing all this advanced algebra, when you get here, if you type this on the calculator exactly, it might give you a wrong answer. Your job is to do the multiplication first. 30 multiplied by this, then 34 minus that. So that was we apply law of cosine. So we got x equal to 2.45. If they ask us solve for this c, then we're going to use law of sine. I'm going to say, if they ask us what is the value of c, I'm going to say sine of c over 5 equal to sine of 21 over 2.45. So we are looking for this c inside of sine. Sine of c equal to 5 multiplied by sine of 21 over 2.45. Then how do I get c?
Use inverses.
Yeah. So this will be, you calculate this, the C will be sine inverse of 5, sine of 21, 2.45. Whatever is that. So that's the story about law of sine, law of cosine. For sure you have a question like this in your exam. And very basic, I mean, very good number that you should be able to calculate it. And you have plenty of time to do it. Any question? So we have one more advertising. We have like a few more days for your final exam. Please do your best. That's great that you guys didn't drop the class yet. I know I'm going too fast, but I have to go that fast. And for some people email me regarding the extra credit. Extra credit only we have 10 more days left. If you want to present any topic, I give you guys extra credit. Topic like the way I'm presenting. If you pick like any topic that you like on chapter 10 and 11, you have only 2 chapters left. So you can email me, I give it, you will share your screen and you talk 5 minutes or less or more. All right.
How much is the extra credit?
How much? I just give you guys some extra points. I mean, if you get like a C, you might get C plus. If you get D plus, you might get C. But if you get D, you're never gonna get A. Or if you get, so a little bit, I will boost your grades. Okay.
Will
And
we
I
be
also,
presenting- Sorry.
say again.
Will we be presenting during the class?
Yeah, email me if you're interested, and then just, for example, tomorrow I can give you time, or for next Wednesday I can give you time.
Okay.
And how do we present it? Like, what thing do we use?
I mean, it's up to your creativity. I mean, no, I mean, you tell me, for example, you want to talk about rational function, so you can make few slides and a few examples. So I'm using my iPad. If you have iPad, you can share your screen of iPad, or you can share a screen of your laptop and present it through the PowerPoint or whatever you like. All right. I also have one, I remember I posted a question in my Instagram a long time ago. There is a question in my Instagram. If you can solve that, I give you guys extra credit as well. Let me see if I can find it.
What is the Instagram?
My first name, last name, Kayvan Momeni. This is, let me see if I can find it here. This is, pause it. Polar coordinate usually have, I mean, the rectangular has X and Y, but polar coordinate has R and theta. For example, 3,45 degrees. If I ask you guys to plot this, so when you see a degree here, that means we're not able to make that in the rectangular form. This is 90 degree or pi half. This is pi, and this is 3 pi half, and this is 2 pi. So 45 will be here. So this is 45 degrees. R is 3, that means radius is 3. This is radius 1, that's radius 2, and this is radius 3. So what's the point? This will be the point. So r is 3, theta is 45. Another example, 4 comma 135 degrees. This 4 tells us our point will be on the circle with the radius 4 on this one. But only one point on that circle. This will tells us is positive 135 degrees. So it will be, this is 180. This would be like here. This will be the points related to that. So polar coordinate, rectangular coordinate, you should be able to convert. For example, this point, which is 345 degree, if I ask you guys what is the x and y axis for that point? So I give you guys point on the polar coordinate, and I ask you guys make it to rectangular coordinate or Cartesian coordinate. So this is exactly will be x-axis, and this will be y-axis. Good. What do we have? We know this angle. We know this is 45. So we make a line, and this line is 3. What are we looking for? We are looking for y. Okay. We are looking for y, and we are looking for x. So, and we have a right triangle. Y will be, so if I say cosine of theta, it will be y over r. Then y will be r cosine theta, and x will be r sine theta. So this is a formula to convert polar coordinate to rectangular. In this example, we're going to have, we're going to have 3. No. Cosine theta, sorry guys. Cosine theta is x over y. So x equal to r cosine theta. I do mistake because I feel I'm talking to myself. There's no camera on. I do a lot of mistake on myself. So y equal to r sine theta. So thanks, Brian. Thanks for turning your camera on. So we have 3 cosine of 45 degree, comma 3 sine of 45 degrees. With 3 radical 2 over 2 and 3 radical 2 over 2. So this will be the point on rectangular form. So it's very easy formula to have it in your note sheet and get the point in exam and final exam. That's the formula. I give you guys polar coordinate, you plug it in. Polar coordinate has r and theta. You plug it for r and theta, you will get it in rectangular. We also can make a, oops. This point was 3, 4, correct? This was a rectangular. How do we make it to polar coordinate? Polar coordinate means we need to have r and we need to have theta. This is r, and this guy is theta. How do we find it? Through Pythagorean theorem. This is 4, that's 3, correct? What is r? R squared equal to x squared plus y squared equal to 3 squared plus 4 squared equal to 9 plus 16 equal to 25, r equal to 5, r equal to 5, we have 5, comma, how do I get theta? Theta will be tangent inverse of y over x. So that's a formula. Then theta equal to tangent inverse of 4 over 3. I can ask Megan, what is tangent inverse of 4 over 3? Megan, are you there? Or Brian?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 53.13.
So theta will be 53.13. So 5 comma 53.13. In your exam, if the theta was in radian, you need to convert it to the radians. You guys should love this question. So what did we learn about polar and rectangular? There are two sets of formula. If you make a polar to x and y, x will be r cosine theta, y will be r sine theta. If I give you x and y like this one, as you guys make it to r and theta, r will be radical x squared plus y squared, and theta equal to tangent inverse of y over x. And that's how we make it. Ryan, we're almost ready for your question. There are so many formulas in chapter 7, 8, and 9. We have half angle, we have double angle, we have sum, we have subtracting. So there is no identity question for you guys. So don't go crazy. There's so many things on, again, in these 3 chapters. Just follow the exercise on homework 8, correct? Your exam will be related to that. Also, I give you guys extra time to not do a phone call to your friends, just do research. All right. All right, so I'll be done with this. We are in complex number I. I like Brian. Brian has I in it. Do we have a? So if I ask you guys x squared minus 9 equal to 0, if I say solve for x, what is x here? And this
3.
is, who was it? What's the solution?
Is it 3?
Just one? Or there
Oh, 3 and negative 3?
where this is very important. I mean, we're not negotiating here. When I say solve, so you are in the level that when you see quadratic, that means we might have 2 solutions. And this will be, so there are 2 ways to solve it quadratic. You can use quadratic formula, you can factor it. I do factoring, x minus 3, x plus 3. This gives us x equal to 3, x equal to negative 3. Or I can solve it x squared equal to 9. Then x equal to plus minus radical 9, which is plus minus 3. I mean, in the number line that you see, from negative infinity to positive infinity, only there are 2 solutions here. One of them is negative 3, another one is positive 3. All right, Brian? All right. Eating. Now, what about this question? x squared plus 4 equal to 0. Solve for x. I give you number line straight, negative infinity to positive infinity. How come it's not level? What is the solution here? For what value of x I can plug it there, square it, add 4 to get 0? Brian, what number?
2 minus 2.
Okay, let's do it. X equal to 2. I put 2 squared plus 4 equal to 2 squared is 4 is a 4 plus 4 equal to 0.
I think it's impossible.
Ryan, how did you solve this? The previous question that I solved, that was x squared minus 9 equal to 0. I added 9, correct, Brian? I got x squared equal to 9. Then I made a square root of both sides. Here, if you do that, we get x squared equal to negative 4. Here you should stop. I mean, you cannot make a square root of negative number. You know the negative number doesn't have a square root, correct? The property of a square root is inside should be greater than or equal to 0. Otherwise, we don't have solution. So what do we say, Brian? So your 2 and negative 2 not going to work because it's going to get 8, not 0. Megan said there is no solutions. That means inside of this number line, from negative infinity to positive infinity, if you just spend your time, go through all of them, left or right, you cannot find a number to plug it there, add 4, square it, add 4 to get 0. So we're going to say there's no real solution. This is real number line, correct? But we have imaginary solution. If the question said find all type of solutions, if they said find a real solution, you're going to say there's no real solution. But imaginary, there is a imaginary axis here. Don't scare out. This is an imaginary line. This is I, like iPhone. So this is very important. The I means imaginary, and we are dealing with complex number. And complex number, so it's not real, it's complex. And for example, this is 1, 2, 3. Here we have 1i, we have 2i, we have 3i. What is I? I is radical negative 1. We love it. So now we have x squared equal to negative 4, correct? We know there is no real solution. I'm gonna get bigger font for Brian. X squared equal to negative 4. This is, x will be plus minus radical negative 4, was me. So radical negative 4. Megan, there is no real solution, but here, this is same as radical negative 1 multiplied by radical 4. We cheated. Radical negative 4, I break it down. So radical negative 1, we know it from this beautiful axis is I. Radical 4 is 2, so with 2i, we have plus and minus, will be plus minus 2i. So that's the I. So you should know that, Brian. So that's the I. Back to the complex number. So the format of the complex number is a plus bi. This a is a real and b is the imaginary parts. Example, 2 plus 3i. Well, that's the complex number. Where is that? If I ask you guys to graph it, you're gonna say this is x real and that's I imaginary. X is 2, imaginary is 3. So this is 2 plus 3i. Also, we are able to make the complex number to a polar system and the polar system to rectangular is all beautiful. But for this exam, I don't think you have a question on the Euler form, Euler formulas. E to power I theta is a cosine theta plus I sine theta. And that's the polar form of complex number. I don't think you have a question like this, but you know, e to power I pi, you know, e is not the number, correct? Is a number, but it's not the exact number. And pi, you know, is a crazy number, 3.14. And I, you know, is the imaginary part. So we are dealing with like a 3 different crazy number, e, pi, I. If you add 1 to it, do you know what do we get? We get 0. They call it beautiful math formula. E to power I pi plus 1 equal to 0. It's very interesting that this is crazy number, but if you add 1 to it, you get 0. Anyway, let's go to Brian's homework question. The question is, the point with Cartesian so we have a point 3 comma 4. This is Cartesian x comma y, correct? They're saying corresponding to which point in the complex plan is that z equal to 3 plus 4i? Is that z equal to 4 plus 3i? Z equal to 9 plus 16i? Z equal to 3e to power 4i? Or none? Which one you think, Ryan? That's your question, correct?
That's number 1.
Very nice. This is 3 comma 4. If you make it to, this is which point in the complex plan? So the y-axis, it will be imaginary part in the complex plan. So with 3 plus 4i. Any other question for me? Question, Lucas, Lindsay?
Is the test this week going to be posted tomorrow?
When is it due for homework 8?
Tomorrow.
Good. So if you're done with the quiz, correct? Or quiz still is running?
It's due tonight. Into 9.
Okay. So I'm telling you guys, you're welcome to use anything you want, as long as you're taking it by yourself. I mean, the book, Google, whatever. I just want you guys to understand the topic. That's all. And so you take the quiz tonight. Tomorrow, homework 8 is up. Homework 8 will be done. I will post the exam 3 related to homework 8. I will post it today to be done in the next few days. Tomorrow, I'm going to start chapter 10. Chapter 10 and 11 will be very easy, something that you work with it in algebra. All right. So you guys doing great. Don't get, just let me know if you need help. Don't give up. What is that? Chapter?
8 and
Uh-huh.
section 8.1.
Number 8?
Yeah.
We just solved this, Brian. Because your camera is up, I will solve it again. They're saying find the exact. So the word exact means no calculator, correct? No calculator for a value of r and x. Find the exact value of r and x. We have a right triangle. So right triangle means you should love it, because Pythagorean theorem, all the basic formula, you don't need to use law of sine and law of cosine. We have A here, B here, this is Y, this is X, that's R. We are looking for R and we are looking for X. What do we have? We have A equal to 23 degrees, B equal to 67 degrees, and Y equal to 7. All right. So can I use Pythagorean theorem here? Pythagorean theorem says x squared plus y squared equal to r squared. X and y, both of them are unknown. So two unknown, one equation is not possible. So we're going to go to sine and cosine. What is sine of 23 degrees? What, Brian?
Oh.
No, I'm not saying sine of value of sine. On the right triangle, sine of this angle equal to 7 over r. Opposite to that a, 7, divided by hypotenuse. We just learned it, right?
Okay.
So we are looking for r. R will be 7 over sine of 23. Because they said exact, you will leave it like this. That's it. That's the answer for R. What's the answer for X? What is this one? So I'm not going to use a Pythagorean theorem for R, because it will be messy, because they said the exact value. If I use cosine of 23, it will be X over R. Not good, because both of them are unknown. But if I use tangent of 23, tangent of 23 will be opposite, which is y, 7 divided by x. Then x will be 7 tangent of 23. That's another one. So we solved it. All right.